Hey bookworms, we're going to do our weekly whimsy. I have our Sphinx here and I'm trying to open my watercolor pencils. So I'm going to do those this time. I've got a couple of my favorite brushes, just my small thin brushes, and then I've got some water over here. And then I have already traced this right there on my paper. So I'm going to pull that off and set it to the side. So we've got that to reference. And then I am going to go ahead and detail this just a little bit more. I might do my micron pencil. Here, I'm going to actually move this out of my way a little bit more. And I'm going to grab this tape to help keep me centered so I can keep straight in the video. Okay, so I'm going to add a little more detail. You can see I didn't add a whole lot of detail from the drawing itself, like I left a lot of the feathers out. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do, how much detail I really wanted to do with this. So I always like to get the basic on there and then sort of go from there and decide. I think I am going to add more feathers in, but you know what? I think I'm going to add my ink. I want to, I think I want to add it with just my micron pen, so that way I'm not adding a whole bunch of work in here without, you know, drawing it with a pencil and then going back with a pen afterwards when I don't really need to. So I'm going to add a couple more stars. I'm going to take it up around the page. Okay, I like that. All right, so now I'm going to grab my micron. Hopefully this one is one that works because I like to ruin mine. Looks like he's doing all right. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put a lot of the detail back in with my pen here, with the feathers and stuff. And I'm going to erase all this so I don't have a lot of the pen marks. And I'm not being super careful, as you can tell, with the marks I already have there. And then so feel free to make this as detailed as you want. I'm going to turn this. I think this will be a little easier for me to get all the feathers in there. And then let's see, I think I'm going to bring these down. So maybe on this other side I'll start at the inside feather because I feel like that would almost be easier. Okay. Not terrible. And then I've got my gooey eraser here. Get rid of some of this mark here. Pretty good. Good enough. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around and then I'm going to, like I said, I think I'm going to start on the inside there. I think that'll almost be easier. Let me get this part done first. Okay. And then let's see, it starts up here. Okay. And then one more here. Okay. And then finish this side. Maybe. I feel like I'm making this worse. There we go. Like made them too round. I'm gonna have to do something to cover my mistake up there. All right. Let's see. I'm just giving the feathers some tips to cover up some of my mistakes I made on the ends. I think that'll work a little better. There we go. Now you can't tell as much. Okay, we'll go with that. Let me make sure I'm still, centered. Okay. All right. And then, so this is more of an Egyptian, I can't speak, Sphinx, versus, I don't know that Wells goes into huge detail on, he talks about it being female, I think, in the book, right? Yeah, he calls it a she. But I don't know that he specifically says if it's more Egyptian looking or Greek. So your mini museum is more of a Greek Sphinx, just the female figure. And then, of course, the Egyptians have their Sphinx too. Very interesting, isn't it, with these ancient societies and things, that they have their such similar gods and folklore and whatnot. And there's, I don't know if you guys have ever looked into it, but it's really interesting if you look into things that are like from clear across like South America versus Africa versus like up in Siberia area, where there's like a lot of similarities in stories and tales, and even like artwork of like different gods and stuff that you can find, ancient gods, how similar. It's sort of creepy. Okay, so we'll go this way. So I'm just looking at my picture right now to put some of these details in. I'm not going to go as detailed as the picture really is, because it's supposed to be relaxing, not tedious, right? Now, if you are relaxed by tedious things, definitely by all means do it as detailed as you like. I am not one of those people. Sort of sometimes wish I was, but I'm not. Okay, so we've got some of that detail on there. Let's get her eyes on. So this one's definitely a little more detailed. And then her sort of kitty looking nose there. Lips. We've got the cheekbones. Okay. All right. And then we'll get the necklace thing on. Here. And also lots of detail there. Okay. I have some fun things coming for November for gifting type reasons. So I'm going to let you guys all see first since you're in my group with me. See what y'all think. So keep an eye out for that. That will be coming super soon. I'm excited about some really fun things I've been working on recently. And I love your guys' feedback. You all are wonderful giving me feedback. So those will be coming soon. I'll probably put it in our group so you guys can take a look at it in there first. But yeah. Trying to up my game a little bit for the holiday season this year. Okay. All this tape is sort of pointless, isn't it? Alright. And then there and there. So there's a lot of detail on the front of this statue base. I don't think I'm going to do all that. There we go. And then I'm sort of just taking the platform outward, just so it's not floating. I did not add the little moons or planets right there. I don't know that I'm going to. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I think I need more shape in the ear here. It's a little better. Alright, so now I'm going to get some of my planets on here. And I've added extra planets here and there, so we're going to do some of those. So planet there. Planet there. We've got the rings. Another planet up in here. And another planet down in here. And little planet here. And then lots of stars. I'm gonna add a few more little stars. One over here. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go from there, and I've got my watercolor pencil, like I said. Just giving some texture there. Okay, so here's these. My favorite way is just to draw on dry. So I'm going to make, in the book it talks about the Sphinx being like white pearl. I'm going to make my Sphinx colored though. The question is what color? I think I'm going to do a little bit of blue. And so I'm going to just color around, especially in the areas that I want darker. So we want the underbelly darker, right? So a decent amount of color there. And then for the most part, the rest of you that have been with me for a while, you know how I like to just outline and then sort of fill it in. Oops, you know what I forgot? To erase it all. Let's get rid of these other marks. Okay, I think we're good. All right, there we go. Continue on. So I'm going to just outline. And then do some amount of blue up in this area. And then blue. All right, so let's see what that looks like so far. I'm going to grab my flat brush. And I did not grab, I'll have to grab a paper towel here in just a second. And then just manipulate the color with a little bit of water. And since I went just around the edge, it gives sort of more of a natural highlight and contour, contrast, contour, shadow, I don't know. There we go. You can see how deep that is right in there where I colored more solid. Which is exactly what I want. Try to get a little more color underneath that. The necklace there. Let me grab a paper towel when I need something to clean the color off with. Okay. I'm going to grab a little bit of black. I want a little more contrast under the neck here. So just some of my black pencil. Okay. So far so good. Now I am going to grab my blue again and add the blue into the wings. I'm just going right on the lines there. Okay, back to my brush. I haven't decided what I was going to do with the space yet. It's like around the Sphinx. I don't know if I want to color that in or leave it white. Okay. And then, let's see, I put some blue there. I don't want, see if I can pick some of that up. A little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do yellow on the headdress and the necklace. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of my orange while it's still wet. Just to give it some depth there. Okay. And then I forgot his little feet. Let's see. His toes. Okay. Family just got home and I shut the door so you don't hear them yelling. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab just some really pretty colors to do the space. Let's see, I'll do red up here. We'll do orange. And do green down here. And I'm going to rinse my brush so make sure I don't have any paint on there. Okay, I'm going to grab blue. And let's see, we'll do a red. And let's see, I want my dark green underneath for the podium. Okay. Okay. And let's see, I think I'm going to do yellow for the stars, and I might just leave the background white, I think. Here's my plan. See if I can dilute this out a little bit more. I've got a little green over here on the side, and I don't want it. That's pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to switch to this brush because it's a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put I'm going to just do yellow on all the stars. And then I think I'm going to call it good. Oh, that's not yellow. Grabbed a green. Okay. Let's get our yellow on here. Let me see, do I have a violet? Dark green, red. I don't. I'm saying, I was thinking about doing something cool with purple, but I don't have a purple. I need to get more watercolor pencils. These don't need to be. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of blue right down in here. All right, Let's see how that looks. I like that. All right. And then I'm going to take my pencil, get a little bit of color. I'm just going to put barely a blue wash in the background, and I think, yes, I like that. I feel like it just didn't look done. After this, I'll call it done. That looks really cool. All right, I'll make all this pop. And you can see I'm not getting real close to anything. Sort of gives it like a glow. Pulled some of the blue from my Sphinx out. Yes, I'm glad I did that. That made it much cooler looking. Okay, so let me pull it up so we can see it. Hopefully you guys can see that really light blue background. Sort of spooky. All right. Well, I'm excited to see your guys's. I've been loving the Weekly Whimsies and the bookmark. And I will see y'all soon. Bye, guys.